changing the motor oil on the Pinion MGU. Something you should do every 10,000 kilometers. But it's not as if you have to go to a mechanic or workshop when you can simply do it yourself. And today I'll show you how. When choosing an e-bike with the reliable Pinion MGU motor gear unit, it's probably because maintenance and care are too much of a hassle for you. This is also true to the extent that the MGU actually requires little to no maintenance. Pinion themselves only recommend changing the motor oil inside the gearbox once every 10,000 kilometers. Now, changing the motor oil is especially easy, because all the equipment you really need is the Pinion MGU motor oil set and a 3mm hex key. Here's something to keep in mind. When you order the MGU motor oil set, make sure you choose the correct version, because it uses a different oil than the classic Pinion gearbox. If you want to be safe about your bike's maintenance and you just so happen to support us on our channel, don't forget that you can also buy it from our shop. I've linked the MGU motor oil set for you here. If you're now ready to get started and have ordered the correct motor oil set, the first thing you may need to do is remove your e-bike's motor cover or any other parts that block access to the screws on the drain here. In the case of the Flyer Gorok TRX, the drain's screws are easily accessible without any preliminary work. First, we simply need to unscrew both screws here and drain the old motor oil. It's a good idea to catch that motor oil in something like an old screw top jar or any sort of open container, so you can then dispose of all that oil properly without causing a mess. Now you just have to wait until all the old oil has drained out. In the meantime, I recommend checking out our other content on our YouTube channel while enjoying a lovely cup of tea. Feel free to subscribe to the channel and stay up to date with the latest news about e-bikes. Now, if you're the impatient type, then here's a tip for you. You can speed up the process by screwing the air-filled syringe into the upper drain screw and using a bit of pressure to push the old oil out of the motor more quickly. Once you notice that there's no more of that old oil leaking out after a while, then you've drained all that old oil and can now move on to filling it with some new oil. And please don't pour it out into the wild and harm the environment. Dispose of it properly at your local recycling center. Flushing with oil, as is sometimes done with other gear systems, is not actually necessary. So now you simply need to fill in all of the new oil. As the first step, of course, we need to carefully and firmly screw the lower drain screw back in, making sure it is secure. Otherwise, the new oil would just flow right out again. As the next step, we can first prepare the syringe for the next procedure. To do this, we insert the small piece of tubing into the syringe, and on the other end, we attach the adapter piece by inserting the non-threaded side into the small tube. To fill it in, we can now simply hold the prepared syringe in the container and draw up the first 60 milliliters. Then screw the syringe with the threaded end into the inlet screw and press the entire contents of the syringe into it. And we simply repeat the whole process again with the second batch of 60 milliliters, which we draw up into the syringe, screw it in again and press it all in. If you're like me and didn't manage to get the full 60 milliliters into the syringe on both occasions, then you can just go for a third round and press the remaining oil that's still in the packaging into the MGU. Now we just need to close the second inlet screw again. Note that for both screws, Pinion recommends a tightening torque of about 3 Newton meters. So don't over-tighten them. And just like that, you should already be set for the next 10,000 kilometers. That's really all there is to it when it comes to changing the motor oil on the Pinion MGU. If you have any questions, feel free to write them in the comment section down below. We'd also really appreciate a like and that you'd click on that bell icon to turn on notifications. And now that the oil's freshly changed, have fun with your e-bike.